I am continuing in my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am continuing reading in a chronological order, according to event, not according to publication or volume, so I'm skipping around a bit as I move along. We are again in the Doctrine and Covenants. Our last two sections, Section 3 and Section 10, dealt primarily with the loss of the 116 pages, and how Satan was stirring up the hearts of men to try and destroy the work, but God had already made plans for that. He set things in motion so that this plan of Satan would fail. Now that all happened in the spring and summer of 1828. Joseph Smith, in the church history, then tells us that he did not do any more translation immediately. He got the plates in the Urim and Thummim, but he had recently purchased a small farm from his in-laws, and so he went to work working the farm that summer and fall. The main reason being that it wasn't large enough to be a commercial farm, but it was a kind of subsistence farming. So he worked through the fall in order to grow food for his family for the winter months. So, as God had said in Section 10, don't work faster than you're able. Do what is necessary to maintain yourself, and the translation will take care of itself. So during the fall and winter of 28 and 29, he is working this farm in order to provide for his family. In February of 1829, his father comes down to visit him. And that is where we get now Section 4 of the Doctrine and Covenants. The heading is very simple here. It simply states, Revelation given through Joseph Smith the prophet to his father, Joseph Smith Sr., at Harmony, Pennsylvania, February 1829. As recorded in History of the Church, Volume 1, page 28. So, Joseph Smith Sr. has come down to visit his son, and I believe it is through the Urim and Thummim, although it doesn't state that here, that Joseph Smith receives this revelation. Now behold, a marvelous work is about to come forth among the children of men. Therefore, O ye that embark in the service of God, see that ye serve him with all your heart, might, mind, and strength, that ye may stand blameless before God at the last day. Therefore, if ye have desires to serve God, ye are called to the work. For behold, the field is white, all ready to harvest. And lo, he that thrusteth in his sickle with his might, the same layeth up in store that he perisheth not, but bringeth salvation to his soul. And faith, hope, charity, and love, with an eye single to the glory of God, qualify him for the work. Remember faith, virtue, knowledge, temperance, patience, brotherly kindness, godliness, charity, humility, diligence. Ask, and ye shall receive. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. Amen. See, Joseph Smith Sr. came down to visit with his son, but also to ask about what God's plans were. And this is the revelation given, saying, if you want to do the good work, if you want to serve God, then go and do the work. You don't need to be formally ordained to engage in the work of God. You are qualified, it says, those who have faith, hope, charity, and love are qualified for the work. That's all that qualifies you. That is why we have in the church, we talk about every member missionary, because every member, whether they are ordained as missionaries or not, we all should have faith, hope, charity, and love, with an eye single to the glory of God. We should all have that, therefore we should all be qualified to minister in the work of God. Now I do know there's a lot of parts here that are quoting from primarily the New Testament, John, Peter, Matthew. This whole list in verse 6, that is taken from Peter, where he says, add to your faith virtue, and to your virtue knowledge, and to your knowledge temperance, and he goes through this whole list. So Christ is here reminding Joseph Smith Sr. about the gospel that he already has in the Bible. And he's saying, if you want to do the work of God, you have what you need. Strengthen yourself, have the faith, have the charity, remember all these virtues, and go and do the work. But that is the end of that section. Nice and short, we leave that here, and I believe we're reading section 5 next, so I will see you there.